Hey guys, Ace here and welcome to PHP tutorial number 8. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at something I'm sure a lot of you have been wanting to get onto for a long time now, and that is retrieving data from forms, from HTML forms using PHP. We're not actually going to look at doing anything with them for a bit more, but we are going to look at how we get the data. Maybe some of you, once you know that, will just get bored of watching the tutorials, I guess, and just find out how to do stuff with it yourself. But for anyone, hopefully this should be a good tutorial, but otherwise, let's get on with it, really. Because we haven't looked at conditionals and stuff, we're actually going to use 2 pages to do this. The one page, which I've called index, is going to be the page with the form on it, okay? And despite the PHP extension I've put on it, there is actually going to be no PHP inside the page, inside this page anyway. And the second page can be whatever you want to call it. I've called it handle underscore form because it's the page that's going to handle the form, and this page does need to be a PHP page because it's going to be using PHP to retrieve the data. Let's start taking a look at the code. Not that one actually. First, let's take a look at the form first, because we need to know what stuff our user is going to have to input before we can understand how to handle it. Okay. Now, one thing that I looked over before doing this tutorial is whether you want to use the post or get method, okay? And I've just typed up a bunch of things that I've found out about that. Basically, these are things about get. You don't really want to use get when sending large amounts of data because it has a 100 character limit. Oh yeah, before I talk about, actually no, sorry, that's the second point. So yeah, get has a 100 character limit, so you can't send a lot. Now you're probably wondering, what does sending via get look like? Well, get sends the information through the URL bar, and if we take a look at an example here, we can see, for instance, on google.co.uk, we've got search. Oh, that just goes into a directory. But then we've got this question mark, and then we've got HL. Whoops. Then we've got HL equals EN. Now, basically, here is get in its fullest. Okay, this is an example of sending data via get. What's happened is before we clicked the Google search Google button on the Google home page. Sorry, actually after we clicked that button, it sent a little thing saying that we want the search results to be shown in English. That's why it's got EN there. And it's also sent, you can see an AND here, and Q equals Google. So that's basically showing the question we actually sent. I'm gonna go ahead and do it now because it's probably kind of useless for you guys looking at it there. Okay, so google.co.uk. Oops. Go back to the Google homepage. So here you can see we are on the homepage, and already on the homepage even we've got this one get method. This get submission, I guess you could call it, and that is this. And if we change this language, for instance, to FR, we can see everything's in French now, and that's because it's using the get method. And that's what the get method is. It sends it through the URL bar, okay? I'm not going to do anything more with that, because hopefully you should all understand. Because of this, you can actually bookmark pages that use the get method. Because here, if I bookmark this, there we go, the star, isn't it? Now if I close this, open up Google Chrome again, take a look at my bookmarks, and I've got Google, there we go. And you can see when I open it again, it stays in French, because when we bookmarked it, the HL was equal to FR, which means French in Google. I'm just going to remove that now. Okay, so that's about bookmarking pages. Get is less secure though, because of course you can see the get sending stuff through the URL bar. So if you're sending like a password or something, it's not advisable to use the get method, because if someone's looking over someone else's shoulder while they submit the page, they could see like PSWD equals so and so, password 12345 or something. So get is not secure. Another thing about get is that you can actually reload get pages. If you try and reload a page that uses post, because post sends it behind the actual page, you can't actually see it being sent. You'll get an error, because when you reload a page that uses post, it's not getting the information from anywhere, because every time you load that page, it needs to have been sent the data from wherever. So if you try and reload a page, it won't work, because it needs to get that data from the form. Whereas with get pages, you can reload them, because all the data stays in the URL bar. So when you reload it, it stays there, and it's still got all that data. Okay, and finally, you can go back from get pages. So I know in Google Chrome sometimes when I try and go back after submitting a form, it will say, sorry, you can't do that. So I guess that's what that's talking about. So I pretty much said everything about that, really, because post does things behind the scene. It can't do all the stuff that get can, and it can do all the stuff that get can't. Okay, so basically you can't go back from post pages. You can't reload post pages. Post is more secure. You can't see it. You can't bookmark post pages. You can't see it in the URL bar, and it doesn't have the 100 character limit. Okay, so in conclusion, get is probably better for retrieving data, like we saw in Google. If I just go back to it, Google, whatever. Yeah, here you can see. Oops, there we go. Here you can see it's retrieving the language from the URL bar, because there it is up there, and then this page will retrieve the value inside HL in the URL bar here. But post is good for an action, so here I've said Google uses get to retrieve results from the internet, so it's using get, retrieving this this value here, and then searching the internet for the value inside Q, which is Google, and you can see we get a ton of things. Whereas Google uses post when taking info to make the user accounts, and making is the action there. If you don't understand this, just make a judgment call, really. Probably the only thing you really need to be concerned about is the 100 character limit on get, and the fact that you can see it in the URL bar, so when sending passwords it's not ideal. Those are really the only two things you need to worry about when it comes to get and post. So just decide, make a judgment call. Does it send passwords? Yes, so don't use get. Does it send passwords? No, so use get. Does it not send passwords, but it sends data which could be more than 100 characters? Yes, so don't use get, use post. Okay, just sum it up through those two things is really all you need to do. So that's a bunch of probably useless stuff you didn't actually need to hear, and quite possibly already knew as well. I've wasted